Whew. The power rankings are looking a little different.
They're making the playoffs. The New York Football Giants are making the playoffs, baby.
Fired up, baby. Let's go. Big Blue.
Chaotic, dramatic shakeups in the power rankings. Here's how all 32 teams are stacking up following an upset-filled Week 6. Number 32, Carolina Panthers. Last time's ranking, 32. Game 1 of the post-Matt Rule era was just as ugly as the previous 5 games. The Carolina D deserves credit for keeping it close against the defending champion Los Angeles Rams for a bit, but the lack of offensive firepower led to their demise. And now Robbie Anderson is gone following a trade to the Arizona Cardinals. Who's next to get moved out of Carolina? Number 31, Detroit Lions. Last time's ranking, 31. Teams don't usually like early buys, but the Lions certainly needed it after 3 straight losses, the most recent being an ugly shutout loss at the hands of the New England Patriots. For Lions fans on #TeamTank, the good news is their next 3 games are against the Dallas Cowboys, Miami Dolphins, and Green Bay Packers. They'll likely be 1-7 in 3 weeks, putting them in prime position to get either CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. Number 30, Chicago Bears. Last time's ranking, 26. The Bears handed a victory to the Washington Commanders on a silver platter, plain and simple. Outside of the running game, nothing's going right for Chicago this year. Gotta wonder if the new front office regime is considering the idea of giving up on Justin Fields and taking a more polished QB prospect like Stroud, Young, or even Will Levis. Number 29, Houston Texans. Last time's ranking, 28. While the Astros were celebrating a 6th straight trip to the ALCS, the Texans were enjoying a much-needed bye following their first win of 2022. Now, they get a very beatable 1-win Las Vegas Raiders team on Sunday. Number 28, Las Vegas Raiders. Last time's ranking, 27. The bye week came in at a pivotal time for the Raiders, who still must be pondering how they blew a 17-point lead to the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 5. This team has a lot of flaws, but the schedule isn't exactly daunting with the Texans, Saints, Jaguars, and Colts up next. There is a legit path here for Vegas to move above 500. Number 27, Washington Commanders. Last time's ranking, 30. Beating the Bears isn't exactly worthy of a celebration, but in the NFL, you take wins anywhere you can get them. Washington was pretty lucky to have won that game thanks to the muffed punt recovery that led to Brian Robinson's game-winning touchdown. No time to celebrate the ugly victory, though. They're without Carson Wentz for several weeks with a hand injury. Taylor Heineke, it's your time to shine. Number 26, Denver Broncos. Last time's ranking, 24. If the Broncos could get a refund on the Russell Wilson trade, is there any doubting that they would take it? It looked like Russ and the offense had figured things out after scoring 10 points on their first 2 drives, but they managed just 3 points after that. Yeah, looks like it's back to the drawing board in Denver. Number 25, New Orleans Saints. Last time's ranking, 25. The legendary Bill Parcells said, "You are what your record says you are." True in most cases, but it's safe to say that the Saints would be leading the NFC South if they weren't seriously ravaged by injuries. Jameis Winston's absence has been tough enough for starters, but having the dynamic receiving trio of Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, and Jarvis Landry all out of action really isn't helping. The Saints have to get healthy and get on a win streak here. Number 24, Cleveland Browns. Last time's ranking, 20. Jacoby Brissett is showing why he is a good backup, but not a capable full-time starter. And the once elite Browns defense has become awful in 2022. There is no excuse for getting dominated by quarterbacks like Joe Flacco, Marcus Mariota, and Bailey Zappi. Sadly, these look like the same old Browns.
Nah, I think they're still the same Browns team I play every year. At the end of the day, I don't know, it's the Browns, it's the Browns.
Number 23, Jacksonville Jaguars. Last time's ranking, 21. 3 straight losses for the Jaguars, the latest being a thrilling, albeit heartbreaking, 34-27 road loss to the Colts. It's easy to knock on the Jags, but don't forget, this was always going to be a rebuilding year with a new coaching staff. And don't forget that their 4 losses have all been decided by 1 possession. They're honestly showing a lot more life under Doug Peterson compared to the last guy. Number 22, Pittsburgh Steelers. Last time's ranking, 29. Sunday's game was a prime example of why Mike Tomlin will go into the Hall of Fame someday. The Steelers didn't have superstars TJ Watt or Minkah Fitzpatrick, nor their top 3 corners, yet they made Tom Brady look like a 45-year-old quarterback. And Mitch Trubisky made some big-time plays in relief of a concussed Kenny Pickett to lead Pittsburgh to a stunning 20-18 victory. That is a feel-good win for the Steelers. Number 21, Arizona Cardinals. Last time's ranking, 18. The Cardinals offense got practically nothing going against one of the league's worst defenses. And now Marquise Brown is done for several weeks with a foot injury. Can it get any worse for the Redbirds? Sure, they traded for disgruntled wideout Robbie Anderson, but there's a reason Carolina wanted to move on from him. The only positive is that DeAndre Hopkins is finally back after serving a 6-game suspension. Number 20, Seattle Seahawks. Last time's ranking, 22. Russell Wilson, who? Yeah, Geno Smith continues to make a compelling case for Comeback Player of the Year honors, leading the Seahawks to a 19-9 victory over the rival Cardinals at Lumen Field. Now, we don't want to get too carried away, but the Seahawks are in a 3-way tie for first in the NFC West. The Los Angeles Rams have shown plenty of flaws, and the San Francisco 49ers are dealing with a rash of injuries. Could Pete Carroll really lead this team to a division crown? Number 19, Miami Dolphins. Last time's ranking, 14. Let's be real, the Dolphins are 4-2 at worst if Tua Tagovailoa doesn't miss any time, and very likely 5-1. We are not going to hate on a team that's been playing with their second and third string quarterbacks. We saw through 3 weeks how dangerous Miami is with Tagovailoa. The Steelers, Lions, Bears, Browns, and Texans make up their next 5 opponents, so Miami is in a great position to enter December well above the 500 mark. Number 18, Atlanta Falcons. Last time's ranking, 23. Amazing to think that the Falcons could be leading the NFC South if not for that garbage roughing the passer call on Grady Jarrett in Week 5. Regardless, Arthur Smith's squad is still tied for first in the division. Absolutely remarkable. Yes, the 49ers were decimated by injuries, but Atlanta's not going to apologize for that. They soundly defeated an NFC powerhouse thanks to strong play from Marcus Mariota and a ground game that racked up 168 rushing yards. Number 17, Indianapolis Colts. Last time's ranking, 19. The Colts could easily be 0-6, but they've battled hard to get to 3-2-1 following a nail-biting victory over the Jaguars. Matt Ryan is slowly but surely getting in a groove, and the offense will only get better when Jonathan Taylor returns. Number 16, Green Bay Packers. Last time's ranking, 5. A major drop for the Packers, and quite frankly, they deserve it. They blew a double-digit lead against the Giants in Week 5 and followed it up with an embarrassing home loss to the New York Jets of all teams. So suddenly, the Packers' once scary-looking defense is unable to stop the run, and their passing game is looking worse each week. Is now a good time to panic? We'd say so. Number 15, New England Patriots. Last time's ranking, 16. Remember when Bill Belichick was washed up and his Patriots glory days were done? Well, Belichick and Bailey Zappi had something to say about that. Since dropping a heartbreaker to Green Bay in Week 4, the Pats have outscored opponents 67-15 over 2 games. The schedule from here is fairly manageable as well, so it's not too early to pencil them in for double-digit wins and another playoff appearance. Number 14, Los Angeles Rams. Last time's ranking, 15. It wasn't pretty, but the Rams beat Carolina, just like everyone expected them to. The 49ers' loss to Atlanta has the Rams in a 3-way tie for the division lead, and now they get to enjoy a bye week before hosting San Fran in the pivotal Week 8 showdown. Time for this potent offense to start finding its rhythm as the playoff race heats up. Number 13, New York Jets. Last time's ranking, 17. Okay, it's time to take the Jets seriously. Because who else wins in Lambeau Field by double-digit points? Sauce Gardner could easily run away with the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. Breece Hall just might run away with Offensive Rookie of the Year honors, and maybe Robert Saleh wins Coach of the Year. Number 12, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last time's ranking, 8. I would have never imagined having the Bucs this low, but they just lost to a 1-win Pittsburgh team that was playing without its 2 best players and several key starters on both sides of the ball. The defense isn't making the stops we're used to seeing, the O-line is in shambles, and Tom Brady just doesn't seem as laser-focused as usual. They better get back on track next week against Carolina because their schedule gets a lot harder from there. Number 11, Baltimore Ravens. Last time's ranking, 7. Death, taxes, and the 2022 Ravens blowing a double-digit lead. At this point, the major positive of the 2022 Ravens is the fact that none of their division rivals have looked that great either through 6 weeks. And up next, we get a very winnable Week 7 home game against the Browns. Number 10, San Francisco 49ers. Last time's ranking, 6. The only reason San Fran stays in the top 10 is because they were absolutely ravaged by injuries on Sunday. Surely, at full strength, they would have found a way to avoid the upset in Atlanta. They'll need to remain in the hunt while they navigate all these injuries. But you have to think when Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, and Trent Williams are all back, they'll look like a heavyweight contender again. Number 9, Dallas Cowboys. Last time's ranking, 9. The Cowboys naysayers won't like this, but there is zero shame in losing to the best team in football on the road, especially with a backup quarterback. Who knows, maybe a healthy Dak Prescott leads Dallas to an upset win in Philly. With Dak set to return and with the hard part of their schedule already out of the way, the Cowboys can really go on a second half run here. Number 8, Tennessee Titans. Last time's ranking, 13. The Titans enjoyed a bye week and saw all these other teams previously ranked above them lose. So welcome back inside the top 10, Tennessee.
Doofenshmirtz wins by default. By default, my favorite way to win!
Now, Tennessee carries a 3-game winning streak and an improving Derrick Henry into their Week 7 showdown against a vulnerable Colts team. A victory at home would sweep the season series and give Mike Vrabel's group a pivotal head-to-head tiebreaker over Indy. Number 7, Los Angeles Chargers. Last time's ranking, 12. The Chargers didn't make things easy for themselves against an awful Denver team, but hey, they did just enough to get the win. And most of the time, that's really all that counts. The good news was their defense stepped up big after struggling early on. However, you have to be concerned about the state of the offense and Justin Herbert's rib. Number 6, Cincinnati Bengals. Last time's ranking, 11. It wasn't pretty, but the Bengals found a way to get past the injury-ravaged Saints to get back to 500. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase took over the game late, and Cincy's defense held off a late comeback from old friend Andy Dalton to secure the win. A Baltimore loss and a super-friendly upcoming schedule put Cincinnati in the driver's seat for the AFC North. Number 5, New York Giants. Last time's ranking, 10. Unbelievable. The Giants have now beaten 2 MVP-winning quarterbacks in back-to-back weeks. You know what that means? It's time to take Brian Daboll's squad seriously. New York's D and running back Saquon Barkley powered the G-Men to a thrilling fourth-quarter comeback against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Now they're tied for the second-best record in all of football. Who'd have thought? Number 4, Kansas City Chiefs. Last time's ranking, 3. Hey, zero shame in losing to the Buffalo Bills, but the Chiefs will definitely be thinking about their missed opportunities in this one. Patrick Mahomes threw 2 costly interceptions to help Buffalo get much-needed revenge at Arrowhead.
To me, this is not going to be a high-scoring game, Jim. This is going to be a 24-20 type of game.
Time to put this loss in the rearview mirror and get ready for the 49ers in a Super Bowl 54 rematch. Number 3, Minnesota Vikings. Last time's ranking, 4. It was closer than so many fans would have liked against Miami, but hey, who cares? They're 5-1, second in the NFC and 2 games clear of Aaron Rodgers' Packers for the NFC North. And we haven't even seen Kirk Cousins at his best yet. Brian Daboll is getting all the love, but why not consider Kevin O'Connell for Coach of the Year if Minnie keeps this up? Number 2, Buffalo Bills. Last time's ranking, 2. Sunday doesn't erase the pain of Buffalo's last 2 playoff losses to Kansas City, but the statement win does put Josh Allen and company in better shape to finally outlast KC in January. Buffalo is now 2 games up on KC for the top seed in the AFC. Can we just fast forward to January for a Bills-Chiefs playoff rematch? Number 1, Philadelphia Eagles. Last time's ranking, 1. Philly did let an overmatched Dallas team make it close in the fourth quarter, but sometimes it's good to experience these games. You won't blow out everybody, and the Eagles displayed great focus in the fourth quarter to stay undefeated. Philadelphia now heads on a bye week with 3 gimme games next on their schedule. Will this team ever lose a game this year? But what changes would you make to our Week 7 edition of the Power Rankings? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around at TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.